You are watching Discover, hosted by David Drake.
As a businessman and founder of LGA Capital, I'm fortunate to be able to travel the world in the quest to meet some of the most innovative businesses while exploring stunning and interesting destinations. I have decades of experience looking for the right private firms and public companies to help bring to the financial markets. And this has led me to travel the world and at the same time exploring new cultures and new ventures. From real estate to investments in fintech, technology, media, and telecommunication, as well as infrastructure and private equity deals. I've traveled around the world, whether it's perfect wine or perfect time to invest. Welcome, my name is David Drake. David Drake? David Drake. I'm here to discover Georgia.
The land of fiery dances, heartwarming songs, delicious food, remarkable wine, wonderful nature, hospitable people. So welcome to Georgia, in a country with a fascinating culture located at the crossroads of Asia and Europe. Georgia, located at the eastern end of the Black Sea, is bound on the north by Russia, on the south by Turkey and Armenia, and on the southeast by Azerbaijan. It is a transcontinental country, placed at the crossroads of Eastern Europe and Western Asia. A country located at the crossroads connecting the West and the East is creating its own original model of development, which may serve as an example of how one could be presented on the world map by the means of the right understanding of its resources and effective development strategy.
When we're talking about the country growth, so first of all we need to know that we have, to our opinion, great potential for growth. We have a lot of opportunities for that. So it's very interesting and advantageous geostrategic location, which is key for our success of being as a regional logistic hub. But at the same time, of course, we have very rich history, we have very rich culture and traditions, and of course nature, which is so beautiful in Georgia, which is so specific, like mountains, clean water, and of course we have the opportunity also to offer to the touristic market and to investors the new destination like Georgia, which is not that much explored yet.
Green policy and country's spatial arrangement, protection and development of its unique nature, eco-industry and ecological projects, education, technologies and innovations, startups, tourism, and creating interesting environment for investors. Exactly in this regard is the country trying to develop.
The Georgian Tourism Development Fund was established with a mission to create a portfolio of outstanding hospitality assets throughout Georgia. And we believe that Abbastumani fits this criteria pretty well, because Abbastumani is a beautiful place with fresh air, with natural hot springs, and it's got a lot of history in it. So because of this, we believe that it has full potential to help put Georgia on the world touristic map.
You have very deep valleys, rich forests. Everywhere you go, there's a river running through it. You can do river rafting. At the same time, you're also putting in billions of dollars for infrastructure improvements, making the roads better, creating guardrails, renewing it, making the roads more efficient. And you're also actually, with AI Group, you're creating a factory in one of your cities to start building electrical vehicles, because I understand that you had 500,000 cars only 10 years ago. Now there's 1.1 million, and to reduce the emission, you have a green direction now.
We're paying a lot of attention to the development of eco-friendly green technologies. It is very high in our agenda, and we are very proud to say say that nowadays Georgia became the first country in the whole region where the new facility for production of green electric vehicles will be built very soon.
This year, the country made an ambitious statement about launching the electric cars produced by the Georgian, first electric cars manufacturer brand in the Eastern Europe and in the South Caucasus region as well. The factory is being built in Kutaisi, one of the largest cities in Georgia. Besides the electric cars company, Industrial Holding AI Group brings together AI Car, AI Energy, AI Power, and AI Production, produces solar panels. The company also implanted car-sharing service, and its car park is fully completed with the electric cars.
We're talking about the vision of your company, Mr. Guldani, chairman of the board. Please share more about that.
The projects we work on in the region are aligned with the goals set by our government within its policies aimed at supporting and promoting green industries in the country. Our priority is green economy and our country development in that field. As any progressive country, we are very conscious of our environment. We are currently focusing on the projects related to solar energy and building infrastructure for electric car charging facilities in the region. But the most important project is our electric car manufacturing complex in Kutaisi. We are confident that these projects will have tremendous value for Georgian economy as whole and will have positive effect on our balance of trade and currency exchange rate.
Our company has decided to embark in an ambitious project to offer our customer choice, either to buy an electric car or to buy an internal combustion car. The positive side of our project is that we will be able to offer a car that is very good in mileage. It will run at least 400 kilometers per one charge. It will be very cost-saving in terms of car maintenance. And of course, it will save a lot on the fuel. Our ambition is to produce, as I said, 5,000 cars per year in the initial stage, but we have plans to increase the number of produced cars to very large numbers, so that we become one of the largest players on the market.
For the first time in the history of Georgia, the manufacturing of the passenger cars begins. It is a very serious challenge, not only because the start of manufacturing passenger vehicles, by which I mean lightweight cars, but also because the production of the electric cars.
In Georgia, you will find ancient architectural monuments and the radical samples of architecture that are a symbol of young, modern Georgia. Castles, churches, and monasteries built centuries ago come together with the modern design architect buildings. Georgia is famous for its cultural diversity and tolerance. People of different ethnicities and religions have been peacefully coexisted in the country for centuries. Georgia is rich with balneological resorts, healing waters, and mesmerizing nature. These are the exact resources that the country is trying to maximize and develop. For instance, Abbastumani, which is regarded as the lungs of the country, is rich in pine trees, healing thermal mineral waters with unique features, is taking the next step with infrastructural developing. A new lung diseases rehabilitation center is being built here. Homes are being restored and repaired. It is also expected that only electric vehicles will run there.
We had a chance to visit, thank you for sharing that, we had a chance to visit Abbastumani recently. Beautiful valley property that used to be a spa with an observatory and this river running right in the middle, and this long, rich history that's been rejuvenated there. Please tell me how that property got started and what the plans are today.
This is actually a very interesting example, and I would say even exemplary case how the government and business are cooperating together with actually our international partners as well. And this is a place which have very rich history. We have the Romanovs' residence at that place, and we have many historical buildings which we are now restoring, and we also have the observatory, as you correctly mentioned, and we are also restoring the observatory and also rebuilding it, not just a research facility, which will be, of course, there, but at the same time we are adding to this infrastructure the elements of which are necessary for the tourism activities and for our visitors.
Georgian Tourism Development Fund was established with a mission to develop a portfolio of outstanding projects in the hospitality sector, which would help put Georgia on the world touristic map. Abastumani truly fits this mission. That's why it was a natural choice for us. So we're talking about $36 million investment. It's a full-scale luxury hotel with a spa, which will be operated under Marriott's Autograph Collection brand. It will have 150 rooms and it will have all the amenities you can imagine having in a luxury hotel. And we think that this property will have the same effect on the region as, for example, Shekwatili Hotel, which we built in Shekwatili at the Black Sea coast had, which helped revive the region and make the region interesting for other investors, for smaller businesses, and which helped Shekwatili become one of the touristic destinations in Georgia.
We also have very interesting initiative from also the charity foundation Carto, which offered to help government in establishing the Abastumani as a zero-emission resort as well. But what's the most important in the Abastumani? It's a very good example of how the business and the government are acting together with the charity part and charity contribution from Carto Foundation, also from the other businesses which are investing there, and the government investment in the public infrastructure. So we see that this could be a very good example for other regions in Georgia, and of course we are going to continue that example in other areas as well.
Education is declared as a priority of the country, forming a necessary ecosystem for the development of technologies and innovations, stimulating the use of innovations and technologies in all fields of economy, creating the needful environmental for the increase of the exports of the innovations and high-tech products nationally.
Mr. Bidzina Ivanishvili, the founder and donor of Carto Foundation, began his personal charity in Georgia almost 30 years ago. In 1995, he created Carto Foundation, and since this period, our foundation performs charity all around Georgia. Our key areas are culture and heritage, science and education, infrastructure, regional development, and sports.
One of the most outstanding projects, which is currently carried out by a private investment of Carto Bank, is the construction of the Technological University of Kutaisi, the second most important city of Georgia.
Kutaisi International University is the biggest project for Carto Foundation. We have officially announced that we are going to spend up to 1 billion euros for this project. This is absolutely unprecedented act of charity in the fields of education, not only for Georgia, I'm absolutely sure. This will be absolutely new university which will have absolutely unique campus where all needed facilities will be gathered all together. And this is unique for Georgia, and I am pretty sure that even for in other countries such type of campus are a luxury for students, of course. We will bring the higher education process with this project in Georgia on another level. In our university we will have international professors, and the study itself will be held in English language. Of course it is a full-scale university, but we want to focus mainly on STEM fields and increase the popularity of these fields in Georgia.
Within university we are going to have Hadron Therapy Center. This is a center about cancer treatment, and a world's leading company, IBA, that is a leader in supplying cyclotrons, is going to deliver cyclotrons at Hadron Therapy Center, and those cyclotrons will be used for cancer treatment as well as for cutting-edge research in medicine, medical physics, and nuclear physics. We will be cooperating with the world's leading research centers and universities, like Research Center in Jülich in Germany, University of Aachen, also in Germany, universities of Rennes and Leuven. We also recently talked with institutes and research centers in Madrid and in Milan. These are research centers in proton therapy, and which is, by the way, a cutting edge of cancer treatment. And they will be very actively involved in the research part as well as in academic part of the university.
The country's investment environment and economical potential is largely dependent on the international partner countries, donors, and organizations that the country collaborates with.
Over the past 20 years, there has been a consistent reform path towards market economy. It has been very credible with investors because it's been so firm. There has been firm reforms in the financial sector and the banking sector, which enabled 2 commercial banks to list on the London Stock Exchange, which of course made a very good image of the country.
The most prominent feature of the government's development strategy is the use of market forces. I mean, they did a lot of work and great work in improving the business environment. Georgia is now ranked 6th, as you may know, in the World Bank's Doing Business survey. And, you know, they are trying to integrate with the rest of the world, particularly with the EU, following the association agreement. So they are following the right policies, they are on the right track.
Georgia has signed a free trade agreement with the EU. There is an expectation of having similar agreements with the US as well.
What are you doing to attract investors to the country?
This time we are hosting the 3rd International Tbilisi Silk Road Forum, which is a very important event, not only for us, but I think for all the countries that are participating. And we expect to have more than 2,000 guests from more than 60 countries along the Silk Road. This is a 3rd event, and it is not surprising that Tbilisi, capital of Georgia, became the place for such kind of international events dedicated to the Silk Road concept, dedicated to the connectivity, transport and logistic issues.
Tbilisi, the capital of Georgia, is a harmonious combination of the old and new architectural patterns, sulfur baths and captivating houses built on the cliffs and their appearance that tell a story of their own history itself.
We have a lot of very specific areas, where specific destinations. In one places there is a spa resorts, and in other places is places which are mostly attributed or associated with agribusiness or agritourism. And this is opportunities for the government and opportunity for the public and private partnership.
Georgia, with its remarkable nature, winter and summer resorts, will host Ski and Snowboard Championship in 2023. Batumi, tourists' favorite Black Sea coastal city, hosts countless number of tourists annually. Georgian dance. It is a real art. This also could be an issue of a separate theme. The combination of ballet, folklore, romanticism, sentiments, imagine a fiery dance in which all the fierce life emotions are gathered, in which you love, devote, and worship, and at a time you fight for what and who you believe in. Probably that is exactly the kind of the nature the Georgians have. Which is such a greatly expressed in their folklore, in their polyphony choir songs. That is exactly how Georgian supra looks. It means having a meal surrounded by friends, a real exemplar of heartened relationships and hospitality. The head of supra, in Georgian called tamada, is chosen by the majority of votes, and then tamada selects the toasts himself. Toasts consist of the heartwarming words filled with love of the homeland, friends, guests, parents, children. With such emotions was a toast of the American people celebrated while we were there. It is impossible not to mention wine while talking about Georgia. The fact that Georgia is a homeland of wine was confirmed by specialists from 7 countries after 3 years of research. The project was under the leadership of Patrick McGovern, the scientific director of the Biomolecular Archaeology Laboratory for Cuisine at the University of Pennsylvania Museum. Georgian winemaking has an 8,000-year history, and it has a particularly important role in its culture. Georgia boasts 525 varieties of indigenous grape species, but the wine varieties are practically impossible to count. Nearly 500 out of the world's 4,000 grape varieties have Georgian roots. In 2013, ancient Georgian traditional Kuveri winemaking method was recognized by UNESCO as a significant intangible cultural heritage.
We found the oldest artifacts in this territory dating back 8,000 years. This is tartaric acid. This is the proof that wine was produced and was present in the oldest clay vessels on the territory of Georgia.
We see the remnants of castles everywhere we travel, and each one had their own winemaking. So there must have been hundreds of different winemakers and a deep history of it. Please share more about that.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, the unique climate that contributed to the invention of Georgian wine in general, and Georgian wine is really diverse, and diversity is very important for us. These small producers, wine cellars, are very important for our rural tourism, and I invite visitors to discover new flavors visiting these valleys, countryside of Georgia, discovering unknown tastes, unknown varieties. So all wine lovers are invited.
Well, right now we're in the Wine Cellar Museum of Tbilisi, and we got bottles from 1907 going forward, 10,000 to be precise. I hope that you've tried some of these bottles, being the Minister of Agriculture. But also, I realized, in the U.S., discussions being made to have direct flights coming straight to Georgia. And there's also trade advantages of being in Georgia, with reaching up to 2.3 billion people, both in Central Asia, and Europe, because of the trade agreements they have, which makes it a little easier to operate a wine business, both for businesses in the U.S. and investors in the U.S. coming over here. So I can see this becoming a hub with all this history of wine for both the U.S. and Europe to be attracted to. And the richness of that is what you managed to convey today. So I thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing that with us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. I'm David Drake, Discovering Georgia.
Discover. Hosted by David Drake.